Okay, guys and girls, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose qualifiers for the European region, as we have already found out our first player moving through to the tournament itself, but now we have to find out our second one, but a little bit later than previously thought.
Yeah, that's right. So if you've been looking at the kind of the platform display and the breaks, it's got the schedule on the left-hand side. There's going to be a couple more games being thrown into the mix. We can take a look at the bracket, just kind of zoom in on what's to come here. As you can already see from the top half of the bracket here, if you've not checked this already, Vortex going through in first place without dropping a single map there, defeating all 3 StarCraft races. So congratulations to him. But now we come down to here. So we were scheduled originally to start from the losers semifinals here to cover this game, and then the losers finals for 2 additional games on top of the winner bracket. But the way that it's worked out here, unfortunately, Cass, as you can see to the bottom left-hand side, defeated Mana, listen to me and not read the bracket, defeated Mana, defeated Snute, to then go versus ForGG, to then have to pull out of the tournament for undisclosed reasons. So the whole bracket then got changed back around again. So Cass now was eliminated in the first round here, which allowed Mana to go through to play Snute, which has concluded. The bracket not fully updated there. Snute was victorious, which means we are in losers round 3. So currently playing is Saxry versus Happy, but we are going to be playing Snute versus ForGG, the winner versus Yoda, the winner versus Saxry, or Happy versus the winner versus First, to see which our second place player in this qualifier will be. Whew. Whew. That's it.
So deja vu from our Sengen qualifier, basically.
Snute has an epic run ahead of him for a player who isn't practicing at this part of the month.
How do we wind up in these situations? It keeps happening.
I don't know. But that is it. That is the bracket. So that's what we're going to play out from this point, and we can pretty much get ready for our first series from the lower bracket here. Which is mentioned, is going to be Snute versus ForGG. If we were to see Snute win this, well, I think it's going to be crazy because ForGG is playing a lot right now. Yeah, he streams every day, every morning, around 7 or 8 a.m. European time, very early.
Yes, he does.
And then stops around 2 or so in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then rebroadcasts. You know, what you're streaming before. So he's actually streaming for 24 hours a day.
It's pretty good.
But Snute is on off time right now, but is already defeated a couple of players in this tournament, but he's in the lower bracket. Have to be favouring ForGG despite, you know.
Yeah, maybe not so much
normally
deja vu.
I would say Snute defeating ForGG here if both are on form.
But the fact that Cass was able to defeat Snute before is a little bit telling, maybe, of the current situation for Snute.
Yeah, and it was 2-0 as well. So if Cass can beat Snute 2-0, ForGG can beat Snute 2-0. So I'm not expecting the world from Snute here. Maybe he can pull some upsets. Maybe he can go crazy. And like Vortex hasn't been practicing a lot recently, did well in winner bracket. Maybe Snute can do well here. But ForGG's got Terran after Terran after Terran lined up. This is perfect if he gets through Snute.
All right, well, let's get into it then. Our first game down in the lower bracket. In the 3rd round or so in there, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our blue Zerg representing Team Liquid, it's Snute. And up to the top left-hand corner, it's our red Terran representing Team Millennium, it's ForGG.
Okay, so ForGG doesn't really do anything, you know, special in this matchup. He's not like Happy, for example, who is all about the Hellbat openings and so on. ForGG is pretty standard, to be honest. Just kind of relies on his mechanics, his macro, and power play. Just smashing it through to the mid-late game and having lots of fun. Doesn't really play mech, always plays biome mine. Doesn't play without mines, always biome mine, adding on Thors. Isn't like Bomber, for example, who only goes through the middle and goes to kill you. ForGG does drop around the place a couple of times. And also, what's become more and more popular in Terran vs. Zerg recently is the bring back to the older builds. Again, very similar to Terran vs. Protoss Command Center First and Barracks Command Center are actually quite popular right now, emphasizing the greed that Terran can get away with which really boosts them up for a very powerful mid game.
And I've got to ask, aside from that, what do you make of the general swing that we've seen from Zergs to actually mix Corruptors in instead of Mutalisks into their play?
Yeah, it's something which hasn't properly been developed yet. It's a thing happening in Korea right now. It's here, there, and sometimes added in or not. Mutalisks are having less of an impact in the games that you play currently. Yeah. Good turret placement. Obviously, Snute does not want to lose two barracks, by the way.
No, he does not.
Mutalisks have been less and less useful. They can't really fight against Marines that well. There's always turrets to defend if you try to be aggressive with them. If you move out, the Terran's going to move in, and he can also defend at the same time. So you're in a bit of a pickle. And then what they are used for, effectively, is the killing of the medivacs, which you can rely on them doing. But if they're not going to be that useful in the fights, if people aren't really building that many of them anyway because they're relying on heavy banelings, why not just use Corruptors for the same purpose without all the aggressive options that Mutalisks give you? That's the theory behind it, that you can spend a lot more gas elsewhere.
Are you an advocate of it?
I can see it working, but
yeah,
I do still prefer having Mutalisks for now, until I'm convinced. It's something that Koreans are playing around with, but
yeah,
not sold yet. And that's, I mean, the majority of people aren't sold on it yet, so we still see Mutalisks. But the Roach Baneling type of attacks have become very successful again recently because of the way that Terran players have gone back to greedy play.
Yeah, definitely. And we have seen ForGG mixing in quick third command centers and things like that in his builds.
He'll do it in this build, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like command center first plays very nicely into 3 command centers here off a single gas. You can get it just around like 70 or 80% of the factory, I think it is, if this is how I'm imagining this to be.
Yeah, especially when he figures out that his opponent is cross positions. So that does help.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not going to scout that until the Hellions are out, though. So
yeah,
that's quite a while.
Zerglings are going to run on over, have a little poke about, but there is a bunker here already with a few Marines in, so shouldn't be able to get too much done. And third hatchery is going to go down for Snute, realizing that his opponent is probably cross positions already after spotting with this overlord.
And with a bunker and supply depot down like there already, you're playing command center first on top of the fact that you're not seeing the Reaper. So this is the point where you can squeeze in the factory, squeeze in the CC. It's just actually a little bit as the factory finishes, so a little bit off with my timings there, but squeezes it in nonetheless. And then you can play double engineering bay as well from this, but you are questioning yourself if you can defend anything.
Yeah.
So the common is not to do that and actually get some production down.
True, true, true.
Which is going to be Hellion Banshee.
Switching things up, getting them Hellions out. But Snoot's already gone straight back into the gas after starting the speed, so... Yeah,
should be for the evolution chambers here. Or a Baneling Nest, depending if he's feeling Hellbats or not, because remember, he's got no vision in this game at all. Whether this be a command center first into double gas, which is Hellion Banshee, which is, or it could be a third command center. So Snute shouldn't be aggressive here.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get
cross map as well, and
yeah, very difficult.
Hellion Banshee for ForGG, just pretty standard here with third command center. Off the back of this is when you're going to see the double engineering base probably thrown in. Baneling Nest coming in, and I'm not sure this is aggressive. I'm pretty sure it still could be just for Hellbats. Very popular right now. Very difficult to deal with and give a lot of easy wins to Terran.
Yep. Hellbats not that fast when they're walking about, so even those Banelings, slow Banelings can actually just walk on up to them and get an explosion off. But Hellion's now moving out. And Cloak being researched, so ForGG just got into true tried and tested build.
And there are no units, so Hellions and Banshees can do a bit of damage here. No spores, no lair. Joining together.
All the information that Snoot's got so far, just by poking in and seeing that third command center down at a time that it's at, he's going to feel a little bit reassured about the spot that he finds himself in. But has to deal with the Banshee.
Double evolution chamber, so pretty standard here from Snute. Just lots of drones, lots of drones. So that's the thing. He doesn't really know exactly what he's playing against here. There's a lot of Hellions and Banshees together. These queens have to do all the work, and these are lava inject queens as well from that third, or one of them from that third. 3 queens defensively normally. And double engineering bay, I would imagine, is next on the list here.
Even after seeing the Hellions, though, didn't set up any spores or anything like that to deal with the cloak. So
no, and there's no lair.
No,
he does not know about these Banshees. And he's gonna get in trouble.
Oh, well, drone spots it at that 4th base, so at least that gives him a little bit of a heads up before he gets to the mineral lines, but he does lose that drone in the process. And that's going to take a while. This is going to be ugly.
Yep.
Oh, he's going for the queen.
He can get queens and drones.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Could have got even more drones to join all of this, though.
Yeah, pretty nasty.
Only 5 kills so far. I saw that doing more to the drone line, but...
Hellions as well, though, remember? A lot of them.
There is a lot of them.
10. And there are no lings, so Snute might just be dead.
These banelings that he has, whoop, that's an all right connection for the first one, but there's no units to follow it up.
Yeah, like I said, Snute might be dead here.
Yeah, that's a lot of Hellions.
Just, too many drones, no lair, just caught a little bit off guard here. Did not know Hellion Banshee.
Yeah, it's still a lot of Hellions. There's not much more to say than it's a lot of Hellions. And even that Banshee itself is actually being a nuisance here whilst all this is going on. Actually pushing all of this away in the end with those Zerglings.
Yeah, still 8, 9 Hellions though, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
A lot of them are very weak.
More join in the fray as well, as he didn't switch away from the reactor on the factory, he's just pumping the units here. And Snute's in trouble, he's lost a lot of drones. There's a 3rd command center down, a 4th one as well for ForGG.
Does love his Hellions, does love them.
He does, it's his favorite unit.
And he makes it work. He makes it work very, very well. Overseer pops out, but I mean, if you've got no queens here to deal with these Banshees, what are you going to do? Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
He's losing. So even though he's not getting to the drone lines during all of this, it's so much lava invested in Lings that are just running to their deaths over and over.
And there's no Spire, there's no Baneling speed. You know, you can definitely tell Snute's not playing a lot right now. This is just, you know, not quite Snute level. The hatchery goes down, and that's obviously a big, big blow. Does have the hatchery on the other side, which he can use, but big start here for ForGG. He's got his 1-1 on the way. It wasn't, to be honest, ForGG wasn't exactly crisp with his follow-up either. You see minimal units behind here, but to be honest, it was all concentration on the micro and the unit control, which gave him the lead he's got now, which is more than fine. Yep,
not too bad at all. We're missing a few injects here for Snute during this, so really needs the lava as well, considering how much he had to spend on that kind of defense. Look at the resources lost, 5,000 against 1,600. Very, very difficult. As ForGG behind this is got his 3rd base up and running, and he's going to have his macro flying pretty soon. Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that he does not have in this game is upgrades, kind of, not lead, but isn't on the same timing as his opponent, so it's a little bit weaker for him, but he's got so many units, and that Baneling speed I don't think was ever researched, so it's only just now started. Minimal amounts of units around here for Snute, and he's got to be very careful. With 3 Banshees in the mix, this could kill him off again. I think he's been dead for a while in this game, sad to say, but... Yeah. I mean, 3 Banshees alone, there's only 3 Queens to contest that. Once those die, what are you supposed to do? Not a whole lot. Banelings at the front don't do too bad, but the Marines with these Banshees supporting are going to do a lot. He can go to work on the Banelings. Ooh. Okay, does not quite focus those down as much as he would like, and the Queens actually are holding their own against the Banshees. Ooh, gotta run away, gotta run away. Okay.
There's a tank in the mix now.
Okay.
1 volley from that tank kills almost all of these Banelings if they're clumped.
Yeah, still keeps one of the Banshees alive, causing a bit of a nuisance, but it does fall in the end, thanks to the detection of that Spore Crawler on the right-hand side. Banelings move forwards, but actually don't do too bad, but still, the splits and the reinforcements are going to really, really hurt Snute here. And
ForGG just rallying over. Just rallying the units over. Snute is running dry on units. He's got no Banelings at all now. 8 more on the way.
There you go. GG.
GG.
Game number 1 goes to ForGG after a very well executed push straight down the middle.
Yeah, just very strong start, cross positions, no scout from Snute, didn't really know what was going on, didn't know about the mass Hellions or the Banshee. You play very differently if you knew that was coming, obviously. But he didn't, and he hurt a lot for that first wave push out there from ForGG. And from that, it was a spiral downwards for the Norwegian. But a good start here for ForGG, just now 1 game away from getting his amazing run, which is all those Terrans in a row until first, finally, if he gets that far.
Yep. All right, so what's the second map actually going to be during all of this?
No idea. Let me guess. Sejong.
Sejong, yeah.
And then Nimbus 3rd map. So very good map pool here for ForGG.
Definitely. We've seen Snute do some have some nice plays on King Sejong Station with breaking down the back rocks and then using that as an avenue to get aggressive himself. But at the same time, I think ForGG at the moment is probably just playing on a different level. I would say.
Well, ForGG, like I said, plays every single day, practices every single day, where Snute's
Never
taken
stops.
a month off.
Yeah.
And what date are we now in this month? We're on the 19th, so we're a good couple of weeks into this where Snute has not been playing to his normal amount.
Yeah.
He played in the Foreign Hope tournament, I think, wasn't that long ago. I think it was that tournament. And he said, I'll play it, but I'm not really practicing a lot. Unfortunately, the European qualifier for the Intel Stream Masters popped up in his downtime. There seemingly is no downtime in StarCraft, so you do take a month off, you're going to have to lose in something.
Yeah, that's true. If there's ever going to be downtime for pros, maybe they'll take it off during Dream Pool or something like that, but now is not that time, and even then they'll probably still play custom matches. So let's get into game number 2. As we have spawning to the bottom right-hand corner, it is Liquid Snute. And up to the top left-hand corner, it's our Red Terran. Currently 1 game up, it's ForGG.
Yeah, who I'm expecting to rock this lower bracket. Definitely got a lot of potential down here. I'd love to see him against Yoda.
That would be nice.
It would be a very cool game, but we can't count out who's still left in it. Of course, upsets can happen. They always happen.
It would be really interesting to see how Yoda shaped up against ForGG after the final between Yoda and MMA.
Yeah.
Because MMA had just practiced so furiously ZvT for that last bracket. It was so clear.
Yeah, MMA in that WCS season had practiced to beat ForGG, and he did beat him, so whoever Terran was next was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But currently an update on scores. Happy beat TLO 2-1. Saxry is leading versus Happy 1-0. Saxry was definitely a favorite coming into this to qualify top 2 until Vortex decided to beat him earlier. Of course, Saxry the #1 barcodes on the European server for a while now. He's a player who plays the most games. He spams the ladder, plays multiple 10s of 20s of games every single day. Try and qualify to another big tournament. He's played in 2 so far, Saxry. Not got a big amount of tournament experience to his name. He got that DreamHack Valencia win and DreamHack Stockholm top 8 performances. 2 very good performances for sure. Actually lost to CJ Hero in the Stockholm tournament.
A lot of our European Koreans seem to make their name at DreamHack.
Stardust, Saxry, Impact, I suppose. You can add in Impact into that.
I guess he's not quite European Korean, but he did pretty much make his name there because that's the place he's performed best.
Patience.
So. Patience, yeah. Patience.
Yeah.
Would you consider Jack G? No, not really. No.
Not really.
What am I on about? Like, a GSO winner from ages ago? No.
But the Intel Stream Masters has actually had a very good season so far itself. And by the way, Snoop's opened up with this crazy build.
Yeah, I was looking at this guest the whole time like, wait a minute, this is really fast. So.
Really fast.
Okay, then.
This is that fast where, let's see. The bunker has to be touching the command center, and it needs to be built way before the command center finishes. Lings are going to run around here. The Reaper might not even see. Oh, he's
no, they're not going to see him. Yeah, it's so close.
No, misses it.
Yeah.
So the second Reaper, though, it is a 2 Reaper build. The second Reaper should normally be at home. So he should deal with it. It's the Ling flood that's the problem.
Yeah, he's also going back with the Reaper because he sees the extent to which this hatchery was done. And he's like, wait a minute, that's way too late for.
You have to add the bunker
timing.
now, like really fast. Okay, it's good. It's around the command center. He's got a Marine build instead of a reactor.
So clever. So smart bringing this Reaper
I
back.
don't think this works here. The one thing that if the bunker gets fully surrounded by the Lings, then it can work. But you already know and expecting this to happen most of the time here.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess it could be just a spawn and pull hatchery where you wouldn't expect it to happen. But
I guess
with Marines in production, 2 Reaper, 2 Marines, and SCVs surrounding the bunker.
I guess the bunker tries to defend the ramp as well with the position that it's on, right?
Well, the thing is with this build, you actually can't defend your command center without a bunker there. So the bunker has to be either touching the command center or touching the ramp, which can defend both. But yeah, it does defend the ramp as well.
Yeah, it's a nice spot.
The bunker can get surrounded here. There needs to be SCVs close, and there is none.
No, there isn't.
This is the problem. The bunker will die. The Reapers and Marines are in trouble as well. At least the command center finished.
And he's deciding not to go straight for the bunker here. And pulls straight back on out.
First Heinz already out.
Yeah.
He could have tried to surround it. But then what do you kill the bunker, maybe get the 2 Marines where the Reapers run out, and then the command center lifts anyway. You lose a lot of these units. So unfortunately, that risk did not work there by Snute.
Not really, no. He's gone straight back to droning. He's at 25 against 23, but with double SCV production now, this is gonna, it's gonna hurt Snute. It's going to hurt him quite a bit because right now, all of that money that was invested into the Lings could have been invested elsewhere to eventually deal with the normal transitions that we're seeing here from ForGG.
Hellion Banshee again.
Well, at least he's breaking down these rocks, as he likes to do.
It's going to be scouted as well, which is always good to see. You at least know what you're playing against, so you're not going to take too much damage like before. If he had any aggressive plans, they've been cancelled, obviously. Time to go on the defensive. Drone, Queen, Spore. Maybe a layer.
Yep. And there we go. It does start up here. That already throws down his Spore in his natural because it is the closest base to his opponent, so it's probably the place that will get hit first. Unless, of course, ForGG wants to be a bit sneaky and wiggle around the left or right-hand side. But his force is already looking good because, I mean, keeping the Reapers alive with the Hellions as well, as long as he doesn't get fully surrounded, it's quite a potent force.
Yeah, Banshee being used just in case this is there is a build where it's Hellbat Banshee. You could throw an armory into the mix here, and then it's kind of become a bit awkward. So it is nice to have the Baneling support.
A lot more Lings in production here to kind of fortify this. And actually, the other Lings have just gone straight around, but the wall off is full, and he needs to raise the supply depot. Raise the supply depot. Ah! Okay, didn't work. And he's going to have to deal with it with just these Hellions, but he gets a few of them taken away. Meanwhile, at the front, trying to poke on forwards. The Reapers don't die, so they're tanking a little bit of this damage during it. One of them will end up falling, but killing off a few of the Lings in the process.
I'd say that's a so-so trade. Probably still favoring ForGG, though.
Yeah.
You got rid of that Spore, which means the Banshees can fight in between these two hatcheries.
It forces even more Lings as well.
Yeah, it was a decent attempt to run around from Snute, but you've got to, you've really got to establish yourself by not taking too much damage. He's going to try the run by again from the back. But, I mean, ForGG is committing a lot of resources to this as well, so you got to bear that in mind,
That's true, that's true.
Like, he's still only on 2 CCs, still only Hellion Banshee.
The resources lost technically quite even, and with Snute mining from a third base, he's up in terms of drones, but the mules kind of account for quite a bit of that.
Neither of them have very good infrastructure. Neither of them. Like, Snute has a lair, but doesn't really have anything else. Doesn't have any evolution chambers. He's kind of got a lair and a Baneling nest, and ForGG's just kind of just now building his third command center. He's building an armory, by the way, which I think is going to be for Hellbats, while he just plays a normal game here. So we should see like I think the engineering bay is semi-safety, semi-not, where he can just, I don't think it's going to be mech. Actually, it shouldn't be mech. It's weird, though. He's getting 2 Vikings.
Adding on a tank as well to kind of bolster this army, and whoop, transfuse wasn't really too important there, as the one weakened Queen was the one with the energy. So he's losing even more Queens during all of this. He loses the first Banshee. Second Banshee has to get ran out there, just does barely. But he has to make so many links, and he has to pull off the drones as well. He was gearing up for further on tech, because he took all of his gas guys, and meanwhile, during all of that, he had a few drones on the way, but the Hellions still do even more with the follow-up.
Yeah, a lot of damage there. 12 drones. Yeah, I was a bit confused here. I'm not exactly sure. I think ForGG's a little bit worried against maybe because he saw the Overseer, maybe he was just a little bit worried about Mucilis there. But at the same time, he's playing a combination of both. This is very un-4GG-like. It's he's getting +1 attack as well as +1 attack for the vehicles too, like Bio and Mech. So it's going to be a combination of tank, Thor, Hellbat with a bunch of Marines in it too. So a good mix-up of units. A little bit unorthodox play from ForGG for sure.
Does fully need to know about the Spire in the end, though. Doesn't quite have the intel. Banshee dies, doesn't really get to the main. Very difficult from that position.
Yeah, Spire shouldn't be too much of a problem, considering he's got a Thor and Vikings.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too much of a problem. And turret's now starting too. It's good timings on those.
You'll have gas for about 10 or 11 or so Mutalists once they come along, so it's not too bad, but finding a weak point is going to be very, very difficult.
Still possible, though, so as much as it is difficult.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you look at the way in which the infrastructure is set up for ForGG right now, there's nothing really covering the add-ons, but at the same time, there's going to be a load of Marines popping out from there, so it's debatable whether you really want to hit that spot.
Interesting, we're seeing the missile attack upgrades coming out from Snute here. So he's going to use 8 Mutalisks, and then he's going to obviously want to start to throw gas into either resources into either a Roach Warren or an Infestation Pit. Obviously, he's got to choose his tech choice here. But he's chosen the Infestation Pit, which is going to be Swarm Hosts. He's going to play Swarm Host straight away here.
So as quickly as possible to Swarm Host Muta, in essence, which
yes.
is a very, very strong build, don't get me wrong. But we've seen actually ForGG, I think he's gone up against this in the past and just spearhead that kind of play. But with only Marines, not full mech, it's...
Yeah, he hasn't played against it with this kind of combination in a tournament.
Can be difficult. Mutas try and fly in, find a weak spot. They do find the refinery, the edge of it at least, bouncing to those SCVs, trying to get a few of them. Or even just shut down the gas itself, but nope. Gets pushed away by Marines. I think
that ForGG is going to be more than fine, because Swarm Hosts are not good or that very good against Bio, but they are good against mech. So ForGG has the strength of mech in his army by Thors, tanks, and Hellbats, and also the agility that the Bio provides him as well. And obviously the mobility to move around with his units. It's going to be interesting to see how these two armies collide against each other. Very different kind of games we've seen today.
Yeah. These Vikings trying to ward this off at the mineral line, at least push it back is a nice start for them. I mean, 2 Vikings technically are not going to be able to compete against 8 Mutalisks, but with the missile turret underneath, very difficult for them to really do much.
Yeah, Swarmhost Baneling, pretty cool to see.
Yeah. But this is where, I mean, Snute, as much as he technically hasn't been practicing that much this month, this is where he has his comfort. This is where, back in Intel Extreme Masters Toronto, he said, this style is super, super strong, and it's very difficult to break me when I get going with it. So we're going to see that become fully fledged. And this
but actually committing to it, like that, his style's always been to move into this. But this is actually just going for it from the get-go. Like he doesn't play Ling, Baneling Muta into Swarmhost. This is Swarmhost.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is different. But ForGG's probably feeling a little bit comfortable. He scanned, he saw what he was up against, he moves out. Doesn't change anything drastically with his infrastructure back at home, so that shows confidence in what he has.
Yeah, it's a very strong army, and Marines actually melt Locust pretty fast when they've actually pushed out. So he has to be very, very careful about how much he pushes forwards here. It's the Banelings that are the big issue. And those tanks, those tanks helping out quite a bit during all of that. But he did lose a few Marines in the process.
Yeah, lost quite a bit there.
Has to be careful. Still, there's a lot of Banelings here for Snute. I think Snute's totally fine on this right-hand side. He just needs good connections with the Banelings, and then he should be fine.
Yeah, there's not too much there from ForGG, unfortunately, with that army.
Nope. Ling's going to go for a counter-attack here. And Baneling's setting themselves up on a flank just in case he wants to go for a full push forwards. Actually, these Lings are just positioning themselves to catch reinforcements, and as such, it's pulling the entire army back. Oh. Doesn't really do a whole lot, though. Reinforcements were apparently strong.
He scans, sees if there's a base on this left-hand side. There isn't, but he's going to come into the center to clear the creep. Keep Snute away from spreading that creep too much.
Yeah, ForGG's macro is hitting full swing now. I mean, he's got so many Marines on the way at any given time. He's adding on extra tanks to go up against this force. But if he gets to the point where he has like way more tanks compared to Marines in terms of like a trade-off when Banelings keep hitting it, then it could become like just a weird stalemate situation. But the Mutalisks are doing a lot of the back, actually catching some of these reinforcing tanks. This is a really good pickup.
And 3 Banelings going towards that SCV line. He's got to load the supply depots to get out of there. Does not want to lose those.
No, 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 no. Okay, so there's 2 Banelings not really doing much. Whew. That was a good retreat out by ForGG. Very good.
Yeah.
And he has established himself the 4th base, which he can launch the attacks from more importantly. This base is pretty heavily solidified by his army positioning when it goes for the assault.
Yeah, this is definitely, in Snute's downtime of not playing as much, this is obviously something he's been thinking about. And now he's like, all right, whatever, I'm just going to try it.
Yeah.
And cool to see. Yeah, definitely a future development that we will see a lot more of in the future from Snute. This is kind of like a preview of it.
Yeah, pushing forwards. He has a great concave here with these Marines to greet anything that does come along. The Banelings don't really get a great set of detonations off on the army.
The Mutalisks are so useless here. What are they exactly doing? They can't fight against this.
Locusts are kind of useless as well when they get right up to the Marines. Yeah, of course, they trade a little bit, but the Marines melt them away. The Banelings need to get through, but the Thors at the front holding the line. Okay, so some of these Marines are going to be traded off for the Locusts, but they evaporate, and now that takes a long while for those Swarm Hosts to actually gain, again, more Locusts. He's broken down the Marine numbers, though.
Yes, he has, but there should be more coming soon.
Yeah, he needs his reinforcements over there ASAP.
But a good hold there from Snute. Very good holds.
Kills 2 of the Thors as well. That denies a lot of the anti-air, but the reinforcing Marines should be able to push away those Mutalisks.
Yeah, ForGG not able to crack down this right path there. He thought he was very close to doing so. Very, very close. But the Swarmhost number's too many now. 14. And Snute survives there. They were getting very close to the Swarmhost. And the creep spread extends even further on that right flank, which is very dangerous there for ForGG, of course. But now he's got to start thinking of another plan here. He can't really do the same. Surely not. He slaps down 4 extra barracks. So I guess maybe he is. He's going to try and continue on the same.
Just going to keep going. That's what ForGG is all about, man. The spearhead approach that he takes against these kinds of fortified positions. And Snute's not going to give this position up. He is well hunkered down. Although that being said, he did lose a little bit of the static defense, so maybe he wants to replenish that later on.
Oh, he's got so many Swarmhosts now. He's not worried about too much. I don't think he's gone up to Hive. He's got, got the option to go up towards the Ultralisk Cavern, further upgrades. He's got a very good position here.
Marines push forwards, looking to get on top of a few of those Queens. Do not get any kills, though, as the Mutalisks are also rising in number. It's 16 Mutalisks, 18 Swarmhosts. He's trying to fight on 2 flanks and really being drawn apart here as Snute just continues to hold off against this aggression.
I think he's got to try and abuse the immobility of the Swarmhost as well instead of fighting straight up. If he was able to drop around the back or something, rounds the third with just a single 8 Marines or 16 Marines.
But how often do we really see ForGG do that when he gets in this one-track mind of just going through the center? He seems adamant about breaking this position. He's just going to keep going. He's just going to keep
against
going.
Locust at this point.
And it's not going to work out for him in the end. Any little Marine that dies off, trying to add on that static D again, but not able to get up just yet. Trickles of it will do, though, as he spread himself across a good concave here. He has good creep spread in the front, but if that gets picked off, actually gets on top of a Swarmhost for a few Marines. It's not a bad trade.
Mutalisks finding themselves coming around this right-hand side, and there's not that much defense. Tanks a little bit exposed, turrets exposed. ForGG's got to start thinking about a 5th base as well shortly.
Yeah.
Probably to this left-hand side.
Yeah, down here. Anything on this right-hand side is going to be too close to Swarmhost, I would imagine, for... Well, although that being said, he keeps on kind of holding it at bay in the middle. A few Banelings do go off, though. But he gets on top of these Swarmhosts. Big pickup, big pickup.
Yeah.
That's very costly here for Snute.
Found a weakness, found an opportunity in the Locust waves there.
It's the spearhead, man. He just keeps going. That being said, though, his Marines are very, very weak now. He can't keep trading Locusts away for these Marines, but he's constantly rallying forwards. 14 Marines on the way.
It's the tanks that are offering so much from the back here against the Locust waves that they lower the health of the Locusts, so the Marines just drill them down instantly, and then there's that big gap in between waves of Locusts where he was able to break through.
Yeah, he's actually just keeps on going now. There's only 12 Swarmhosts here.
He's broken him.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to hold off against this. If more Marines and more forces force it through, there you go. GG, ForGG takes the second map and eliminates Snute from the qualifier.
Yeah, I was just sitting there kind of learning and understanding a little bit more about that game there. Very cool game and something we don't see very often, especially because Terran vs. Zerg's kind of played out very similar all the time there. But that was cool, kind of cool to see. Definitely saw some strength potential from Snute there, but ForGG adapted well into it. And like I said, kind of broke it down towards the end there, is that the tanks eventually, gave him the power to break through the Locust waves. Yeah. Cool game.
And said, man, ForGG, he is that spearhead. He will just go straight through the middle and keep on pushing. And that means now ForGG advances on through the lower bracket and is going to meet up with Yoda.
That's right. So Terran versus Terran here. Of course, we saw Yoda play in the finals recently in the WCS. Now it's time for another Terran versus Terran, and it's going to be a good one. We've got ForGG, the expert of this matchup, going up against Yoda. And Yoda, who did qualify for Toronto last time the Interstellar Masters run the European qualifier, has that position now threatened this time around, as ForGG is going to be gunning for him.
Yeah, he does. All right, guys, join us after the break when we have our third to last series of the night coming up between MMA and Yoda.